favor? Jackie, please call the roll.
Senators Bean,
Here.
Black,
Here.
Bernskoetter, Brown,
Here.
Carter, Crawford, McQuarrie, Razor, Washington. You have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I want to appreciate everybody being here today and traveling across the state to be here. For those here to testify on legislation, please speak into the microphone, introduce yourself, and address your comments to the committee members. Please keep your comments relative to the legislation. Once your testimony concludes, committee members will have an opportunity to ask you questions. Please complete a witness form either on the table or online, and please silence your cell phones. So before we get to Senator Bernsketter's bill, I think we're going to go into executive session. So I may make a motion we move into executive session. I have a second. We are in executive session. First up is Senate Bill 1019, sponsored by Senator Justin Brown, regarding the closure of certain park restrooms. I make a motion we vote Senate Bill 1019 do pass. I have a second. Any discussion?
Is there a sub for that, or we're still working out the original bill?
It's still the original bill.
Yeah, you should have a copy of the substitute, and all it does is it
No, we don't have a substitute on 1019.
oh, never mind. You don't have it.
This is just the original bill. This is 1019. This is regarding the closure of certain park records. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yep. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Jackie, please call the roll.
Senators Bean,
Aye.
Black, Bernskoetter, Brown, Carter, Crawford, McQuarrie,
Aye.
Razor, Washington.
By your vote of 6-0, we have voted Senate Bill 1019 do pass. Next is Senate Bill 1261, sponsored by Senator Carter, specifying that ATV used for agriculture purposes shall be considered farm machinery and equipment for purchases of a sales tax exemption. I make a motion to vote Senate Bill 1261 do pass. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Jackie, please call the roll.
Senators Bean,
Aye.
Black, Bernskoetter, Brown, Carter, Crawford, McQuarrie,
Aye.
Razor, Washington. 6-0.
By your vote of 6-0, we have voted Senate Bill 1261 do pass. Last is Senate Committee Substitute for Senate Bill 1416, sponsored by Senator Justin Brown, relating to pesticide labeling requirements. The committee substitute was distributed yesterday, I believe. Senator Brown, do you care to explain the substitute?
Yeah, all it does is we're clarifying some language from the original bill, and instead of the original language says that the label addresses all health concerns or conditions, and this would limit it to warning to cancer only. So we're just narrowing it down to cancer only and not all health conditions. And that'll be requirements of EPA and FIFRA.
Okay. Any questions? All those in favor of adopting the Senate substitute, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We have adopted the Senate Committee substitute. I make a motion to vote Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1416 do pass. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Jackie, please call the roll.
Senators Bean,
Aye.
Black, Bernskoetter, Brown, Carter, Crawford, McQuarrie,
No.
Razor, Washington.
5-0. 5-1, sorry.
By your vote of 5-1, we have voted Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1416 do pass. I make a motion to move out of executive session. Do I have a second? All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. We have moved out of executive session. So on the agenda today is Senate Bill 1281. Senator Bernskoetter, the floor is yours.
Representing the 6th District, Senate Bill 1281 creates provisions relating to invasive plants. The Department of Agriculture shall create a list of plants known as the invasive plant list. Current list is burning bush, calorie pear, climbing euonymus, Japanese honeysuckle, and Lesbodiza, Cercia lesbodiza. And, you know, I was, Representative Sassman brought this legislation to me, and I said, heck yeah, I'll sign on to that, because we have, if you look around, driving around, you'll see all the white trees that are blooming right now. Those are the calorie pears. And we have on our farm, we have the Japanese, or not, the invasive honeysuckle. And I've been trying to get rid of the invasive honeysuckle for years. Spent my whole COVID time trying to get rid of invasive honeysuckle at our farm. And last Friday I went out and pulled a whole bunch more, and there's still thousands more of them. So I happy to sponsor this legislation. And there is a big fiscal note, because the Department of Ag would have to do a lot of things and hire people. But in the House version, they put in there that the nurseries would sign an affidavit saying they weren't going to sell this, so there won't be a big fiscal note, and bring the fiscal note down to zero. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator Bernskoetter? Senator McCreary.
Senator, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing this forward. I do a lot of hiking, and one of the things I've noticed through the seasons is the honeysuckle especially is really overtaking some of the state and county parkland in the area where I hike. And, you know, it's always the first thing up in the spring and the last thing down in the fall. And so it's having a really negative effect on other species and plants being able to survive and come up and that kind of thing. So I thank
you know, like I was saying, the white stuff you see now
Yeah.
is the pears, but the green stuff that you see is more than likely invasive honeysuckle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, anybody here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 1281? Please come forward. Make sure your microphone's on, and please proceed.
Thank you. Chairman Bean and members of the committee, I really appreciate the opportunity to express my support and urge you all to support this bill as well. I am the chair of the Missouri Invasive Plant Council. We are a group of professionals representing agriculture, horticulture, conservation research, and land management. Our mission is to advance efforts to reduce the negative impact of invasive plants in Missouri to benefit Missouri and all Missourians. As you all know, invasive plants create significant threats to
Hey,
Missouri's...
excuse me, one question. Could you state your name?
I am so sorry. Carol David. I'm the chair of the Missouri Invasive Plant Council. I
Please proceed.
apologize. So as you all know, invasive plants pose a serious threat to many aspects of Missouri's economy, including our forest products industry, livestock industry, and outdoor recreation industry. Invasive plants degrade wildlife habitat and threaten Missouri's hunting heritage. Invasive plants create problems for landowners and homeowners. They cause frustration, they take significant time and money to control, and they limit landowners' choices of what they want to grow in their own land or in their own yards. And this bill is a positive step forward in protecting Missouri's landscapes and protecting the economic impact of working lands, and in reducing the negative impacts of invasive plants for landowners and taxpayers. Several other states around the country have passed similar bills, and now we have an opportunity to do the same thing in Missouri. Some have stated that a bill such as this is an infringement on personal freedoms, that people should be able to buy and sell whatever kinds of plants they want. Yet there are many, many non-invasive alternatives to purchase instead of invasive species, and invasive plants that spread give homeowners less freedom to grow what they want on their own properties. Invasive plants are definitely an infringement on personal freedoms. They're expensive to control and a threat to the livestock, forest product, and outdoor recreation industries. This bill is not intended to put any nursery grower or seller out of business. During the testimony on the House committee on the companion bill, one nursery grower stated that the combination of all 142 plants known to be invasive in the state comprised only 7% of his entire stock. This bill deals with only a subset of the worst of those species, and it includes a grace period to allow plant growers and sellers to sell their stock without any kind of penalty. And then they can switch to growing and stocking non-invasive plants to sell. And some have stated that these bills do not address making internet sales of invasive plants illegal. That is correct. There's no silver bullet to solving all of Missouri's invasive plant issues, but this bill would take a big bite out of the problem. Yes, anyone could buy practically anything on the internet, but we feel that this bill would eliminate the vast majority of sales. And just wanted to comment that the plants species that are in this bill and in the House bill were provided at the request of House Representative Sassman from the Missouri Invasive Plant Council, and we spent years, since 2020, inviting stakeholders from agriculture, horticulture, and other groups, and the general public to state which of the 142 plants in Missouri that are known to be invasive, which ones would they support being on legislation, on a bill such as this, and which ones would they not support being on such a list. And the plants in the Senator's bill and on the House side are plants that have the strongest support and least opposition among the various stakeholder groups and the general public. So again, thank you for this opportunity, and please support this bill. Thank you.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281. So don't forget to leave your witness form, or you can fill it out online.
Got a prop?
Uh-oh.
Well, it's sort of prop, sorry. Good morning, Chairman Dean. My name is Charles Scarnia. We have a Century Farm in Gasconade County by Owensville, and it's a 120-acre farm. And we've been dealing with the invasive species, as long as I can remember. Some of it was started by the Department of Conservation when they introduced the Sericea lespedeza, for example, back in the late 60s. My dad planted some, and we've been dealing with that ever since. The economic impact for me is, we have the farm there, and we did soybeans, and for several years now I've been farming it, and we switched to native wildflowers as a seed crop. So, and that's actually more profitable for us than the soybeans. And it's but in any case, we can't have any of these seeds in our wildflower mix. So I have spent, just mainly on Sericea lespedeza, an average of, let's see, in 2023, 9,000, 2022, 8,000, 2021, 8,000 in labor costs, and it's gone down to, and it's probably an average over the last 10 years of $5,000 a year. That's $50,000 that comes out of our profit. Now we don't make a lot of money on it, but we'll vary from $8,000 to maybe $22,000 a year income from selling our seeds. So I have to really watch that stuff. So, and it's a constant battle. So it's going to be in the future for Missourians down the road, 100 years from now, this is going to get worse and worse and worse. You're going to lose, for example, from some of the other invasive species like the winter creeper. You're going to lose your forest. You're going to lose our state tree, or the dogwood, because they will not. This stuff here makes a complete canopy on the forest floor, and nothing else will grow. You've got some of that stuff growing right here on the Capitol grounds, that winter creeper. It's terrible stuff, and it don't stay put. I mean, and other thing. This is one of the other ones, the calorie pear. As you can see, it's got extremely sharp thorns on it, and this stuff was supposed to stay put. Well, it came from our neighbors within the nursing home and the church and stuff. They planted some. They poke holes in my tire. They grow up everywhere on the farm. They don't stay put. So anything we can do to mitigate this stuff that will affect me directly and future farmers in the area. Do you have any questions? I took my 3 minutes.
Quick comment. When I was in college, I worked for Foundation Seed, and I used to rogue soybean fields. That was one of my jobs, to get rid of noxious weeds out of the field. And the other thing is we cleaned some Lespedeza seed. You ever done that before or seen that done? You can see about this far in front of you when they're doing it. Quite a mess. But
Yeah,
any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony,
appreciate
sir.
your time.
Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281.
Leave this right here on the table.
Yes, sir.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Tyler Schwartz, I'm the Executive Director with the Conservation Federation of Missouri, and we'd like to go on support of this Bill 1281. Recently, CFM passed a resolution on this exact matter at our December 1st board meeting, and I mailed you all copies of that back in December. And that resolution outlines the importance of ceasing the sale so that our economy, including the horticulture, ag production, private land management goals, native plant health, native ecosystems, and the outdoor recreation industry can all benefit from them. And a couple additional points that are worth mentioning. You know, we have our Division of State Parks, our Department of Conservation. They have to spend time, money, and resources to eradicate all the different invasives. So there's a lot of energy that goes into that unnecessarily, trying to pull the different invasives that are out there. And you mentioned about the different bills that were passed. The states of Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, and Maryland have all passed similar legislation. So you can see that Missouri's public resources and their private landowners, farmers, native plants, and animals can all stand to gain. I think there's lots of different invasives out there, but this is really a really good start, focusing on these 5, and hopefully we can grow from there. So again, thanks for the support on this bill, and it's happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281.
Hello, I'm Jim Karpowitz, representing the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, and the staff, the board of directors, and membership of the Missouri Coalition for the Environment are strongly in favor of Senate Bill 1281. SB 1281 thoughtfully and respectfully addresses this serious problem. By banning the sale and distribution of the top 5 species at the point of sale, this bill would not only stop the continued proliferation of problem plants, but it would also draw attention to the issues surrounding invasive species to the public at large. And this point I thought was pretty interesting. The bill respectfully acknowledges landowner rights and leaves the decision concerning existing invasive species to landowners. So it only addresses things at the point of sale. So the Missouri Coalition is and its statewide membership strongly support the passage of Senate Bill 1281. It's a important first step, and I appreciate your time. Any questions for me?
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281.
The last one?
Yeah, say
There's a lot of people that like my legislation.
And I do too, with the Me Too. Dawn Nicholas, representing the Missouri Parks Association, in favor of this bill.
Any questions for the witness? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281.
Mr. Chairman, Shannon Cooper today, representing the Missouri Cattlemen's Association as well as the Missouri Forest Products Association. Full support of the bill. Our members are some of the folks that deal directly with these invasive species, so we're happy to support this. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Next up, in favor of Senate Bill 1281. Seeing none, anybody not in favor of Senate Bill 1281?
Hi, my name is Lance Dow. I'm representing a wholesale plant grower in Missouri. I'm not opposed to the idea or the whole bill. I'm opposed to a couple parts of it, one of which being that the as it states, the head of the Department of Agriculture would make the final say. I believe there should be a protocol as far as what plants can be added in the future. There doesn't seem to be any limitations stated between the ban list and also the watch list. And the second part is some states in their bans have allowed cultivars, specifically cultivars that are proven to be non-invasive through selection breeding. And there are different examples that I actually emailed out, but I can submit if requested. There is a certain one, actually, it's on the 5 plants that are suggested for banning. Burning bush, there's a new one that's just hitting the market, and it's called Fireball Seedless, hence the name, it's seedless. There's a history, starting with the Bradford pear, that was promoted as being sterile. And I am not a research biologist, but I believe it was sterile, but I believe that it cross-pollinated with other pears, I believe. And basically, here we are today with all these calorie pears. And I certainly would not like to see another one planted either. But since that point, that was a while ago, that these research scientists, universities are working on, and they recognize the issue with this. They're trying to work together. They're trying to promote plants that are non-invasive but are cultivars of the species that are listed on both lists. So I would like to see an exemption for cultivars or subspecies, et cetera, that can be discussed by the committee for promotion to the head of the Department of Agriculture when adding or taking away plants from the list. And I believe that's all I have. Is there any questions?
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Anyone here else not in favor of Senate Bill 1281? Seeing none, is there anybody here for informational purposes only? Seeing none, Senator Bernskoetter, do you have any closing comments?
Nope. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. I appreciate your time.
That concludes the hearing on Senate Bill 1281. No further business comes before the committee. I move to adjourn. I do have a second. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. Those opposed, no. We are adjourned.
Nice work, Jim.